Recording.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer from EntryLevel. And EntryLevel basically helps you learn and get experience so that you can get hired. Today, I'm actually joined by Michael, who is one of EntryLevel's previous students. Michael received a product management certificate with us last year and actually landed a job as a product manager for a remote company right after our program. And now, Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Hi guys. My name is Michael, and I am a graduate of computer science student. So, shortly after graduation, I was thinking of how to continue in the line of IT, but I didn't want code. I didn't want to do software programming and all of those things. So I went on the internet and I searched companies or institutions that provide trainings for people who are interested in IT courses, and then I found out about product management, and then I found out about EntryLevel.net. So I enrolled into the program, and the experience was so great. The fact that we have to carry out a project, we have to carry out like a real project, and you also have to develop a portfolio that you could use in applying for jobs. Which makes you experience. It doesn't make you look like a novice. When you're applying to job, you can actually show your portfolio to the employers or to the interviewer, and they don't like, oh, you've actually done something. So during my own time at EntryLevel, we did a project on Amazon car services. So I did the user stories, I did the AARR, and a couple of stuff in product management. And just right after my course at EntryLevel, I backed a job with Centrics. It's a company. It's a virtual company, but most of its stakeholders are in the United States and in Canada. So I'm working currently as a product manager. So EntryLevel.net, has just been that company that has helped me get on my feet as a product manager. I was equipped with all of the skills that I needed to become a product manager who is not just a product manager by mouth, but someone who knows the technicalities of being a product manager. So I would recommend EntryLevel to anyone who wants to break into product management or UX, because I'm currently, I'm looking into enrolling into the UX design course this October. So that's it for now.
Oh, wow, thank you so much for that introduction and for all the kind words. We really appreciate it. When, like I said to you before, when the whole team found out you got a job, we were all celebrating in our team Slack. So that's amazing. I would love to dive more into your story, but let's start more from the beginning. So you said you studied like coding, but you didn't want to do it. And then you found product management and EntryLevel. So what was your learning journey like? Did you take any other programs or volunteering experience stuff outside of EntryLevel?
Okay, yeah. So when I was working, when I was taking my course at EntryLevel, I was volunteering at a company in Nigeria at the moment at that time. So I had plans to volunteer for just a year. So I took EntryLevel's training 3 months before the end of my volunteering. So it was like a plan. So I knew I was going to finish my training with EntryLevel by September, and I knew I had like 3 months. So I kept working on projects, because one of the things we learned at EntryLevel's course was David Wang mentioned that we should actually make sure that we work on projects on our own. We should create projects. We should just look at problems around us and try to work on them as a project manager. So I worked on a couple of projects on my own, and so I had a portfolio. So immediately after my volunteering at New Horizons Nigeria, so January, I just created a resume and started applying to jobs. And I was specific about jobs. I didn't want jobs that I have to commute to work every day. I was looking for remote roles, and I got a couple of interviews, and I got this one at the tech centers as a product manager.
That's amazing. I love what you said about being specific about the jobs you're applying for, because if you end up succeeding, you have to make sure you actually want to work there, that you'll be happy working
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Can you shed some more insight about that job search process? Like, do you have any tips for our current students about their resumes or like the job application process?
Yeah, sure. So if you're taking a course at entry level, you should make sure that you're building your portfolio, because most of the things that recruiters want to see apart from your resume is your portfolio. They want to say that you've done hands-on, and that is one of the advantages of taking courses at entry level, because you'd have the opportunity to take on hands-on projects. So leverage on the opportunities, leverage on those courses, those projects you're doing at entry level, they really count. So build your portfolio with those projects and just keep working on projects, and make sure your resume is very well formatted and no jargons. Take for instance, you want to apply to a product manager role. Make sure most of the experience that will be on your resume can be related to a product manager's role. You don't want to have things that are unrelatable. It doesn't matter about the numbers of works you've done. What really matters is the number of projects that you've done that are relatable to product management. You don't want to apply to a product manager's job and then you want to be having stuff like you worked at a cafe, or you have to put on projects that are relatable to the role you're applying to. And if you don't have any of those, just leverage on your portfolio, and that should do.
That's a really good point. I'm wondering, how can people find these projects to work on and put in their portfolio and resume?
Yeah, great. So one of the projects you could actually work on is you could just ask people around you, because product management is all about knowing that this is a problem and then we want to solve it. So in my own case, after I graduated from entry level, I worked on. I knew of a brother who owns a fashion line here in Nigeria. So it was about building his website. So I volunteered to be a product manager. So I worked with the developer as the product manager. So, and the product was the website was launched. So I added that to my portfolio. You get. And so my project during my undergrad, it was the design and implementation of a web-based system. So during my undergrad, I did a project and I stopped at a point. So after taking the course at entry level, I saw it as an opportunity to include the project in my portfolio. So I took it up for where I stopped during my undergrad, and then I found some of my friends and I asked them to work on the project as a software developers, and I had it the product management role. So I had those products that I worked on, like four of them. So I included them in my portfolio, and it was really making sense. So I just kept applying to jobs.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for sharing your tips on the portfolio projects.
yeah,
Um, I just have one more question about the job. So if you're applying to remote companies, you mentioned you were also in Nigeria at the time, right?
yeah, yeah.
So how would you recommend people to apply to remote companies if they're in Nigeria or like they're not in US, Canada, North America?
Okay. Um, Advice for you is this: you just have to be specific about the jobs you're applying to, because you don't want to apply to a job from Nigeria and the job is stating that you have to be in the United States, or you have to be in Canada as a permanent resident or a citizen. So the jobs you want to be shooting your shots at will be mainly remote jobs and jobs that are open to non-Americans and non-Canadians. Like you should always check on LinkedIn. Most jobs would always put it that they want people, they want their staff to be within this state or within this country or within this region. So you don't want to apply to those ones. You just be wasting your time. So you should be specific about the jobs, making sure that they are remote jobs and they would accept you from wherever you're coming from. So that was one thing I did. I got a couple of rejections, and then I learned from that reason, because I got most of my rejections would always come with, oh, we can't apply people out of the United States. we can't apply people out of Canada. So when I got to know about that, so I stopped applying to jobs that wouldn't take me because I am in another continent. So I started applying to jobs that would, take me regardless of where I'm working from. Companies that, I made sure I checked their websites and I saw that they had staffs from all over the world. So I just kept applying and then I got like 2 or 3 offers.
Wow, that's amazing. Are you finding these jobs on LinkedIn, or is there another website you're looking for them?
Yeah, I use LinkedIn. I use Indeed, and I also use. Did I use Glassdoor? No, I did. I use LinkedIn. I use. There's another one I use. I will Monster. Yes, Monster. It was Monster and Indeed. I basically use and then LinkedIn.
Okay. Awesome. I'll note that down. Hopefully, some of you listening can make use of those platforms as well if you haven't already. Okay, so I just have one more question for you.
Right.
You already shared a lot of advice for our students, and I was just wondering, is there any other advice that you think could benefit our students right now?
Okay. One advice I'll give is that you should just put your time into your projects at EntryLevel.net, because there are timelines and deadlines for submission of projects and all of those things. So don't take them from granted. Just it's about 6 weeks, so just dedicate your time to your assignments and to your classes. Make sure you attend live classes and ask questions. When you're in doubt or when you don't know, how to go about stuff. And in your Discord group, make sure that you're participating, because during my own time, I think I got 3 badges on my certificate. I got the critical thinker badge. I got uh, the independent learner badge, and one other badge like that. So those things really count, because you were able to brag. When you finally get into the interview stage, you're able to brag, and that is one thing that you can actually use in convincing the interviewer that, see, I got this badge, I got this because I know how to do this, because I'm dependable, and this didn't just come in cheaply. I worked for this, so I will be a good fit for your job. So just just put your time into it and it will pay off at the end.
Wait, so you bragged about the badges in your
Yeah,
job interview?
it's called the bragging right. You got that right. You don't have to tell them, because they might not see it, because most of the time they wouldn't have to see the certificate. So you have to just include it. And even if you don't have the space to include it on your resume, you could say it, when they say, okay, why should we employ you? Then you could just say stuff like that. I got this badge because I did this because, those things.
Oh, that's a really good tip. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I just have I think that's all the questions for today, but I know for the people listening, everybody might have a lot of questions for you. So is it okay if they reach out to you on like
Yeah.
Twitter, LinkedIn to ask you
Yeah.
those questions?
Yeah. No problem.
Awesome.
So
I'll be
can I give out my handles or
if you send them to me, I will include it when we publish this
all
interview. So it
right.
will all be in the show notes.
All right.
Awesome. Well,
And
thank
for
you.
sure, one of the things is I want to ask them to keep following EntryLevel.net, because lately, I'm always using LinkedIn, so I'm always seeing most of the posts from LinkedIn, from entry level, and I'm happy that more people are beginning to get to know about the EntryLevel.net courses, and it's actually something I'm looking forward to, because entry level is getting recognition, and if you're out there and you're doubting, man, don't doubt. Just shoot your shot off and enroll into one of these courses. Maybe entry level is just going to be one of those Udemy's or Coursera's.
Oh,
Yeah,
we can't be compared
so,
yet, but
so just shoot your shot now and just enroll. So that's why I'm looking to enroll into the UX design course, and I'll be doing that this October.
wow, that's amazing. I also really like UX design, so maybe I'll enroll too, and then we can be classmates again.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm looking
Awes-
forward to that.
Yeah, thanks so much for all the kind words. I actually run all of our social media, so it was so nice to hear. I really hope one day entry level will grow and help more people like
Yeah, yeah. So I can say, oh man, I took a course from entry level.
you. In the very beginning, you were our
Yeah,
first supporter.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks so much for sharing your story. I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people in our audience. I will be sure to link your contact in the show notes so people
Yeah.
can visit that and reach out to you
Oh,
and tell you how you've inspired them or helped them maybe.
yeah.
Um, so for everyone listening, I just want to promote entry level a bit more. Like Michael, you already kind of did the job for me, so thank you. But our website is entrylevel.net, and then you can check out all of our programs there, including the product management one that Michael took. But I do have to say, all of our programs include a portfolio component. Like the data program has like dashboards. I'm taking the data program right now, actually. I got to work on Excel and clean data, and I'm so excited for the Tableau data visualization
Yeah,
because
I did. I also did a course on tablet some time ago because you at a point in time you would actually need it as a product manager, to make some decisions,
yeah,
and when you also have to make presentations to stakeholders. Those guys wouldn't understand most of the technical terms. So the best way to just show that to them is just through visualization of data. So you should also take that. Yeah.
yeah, that actually surprised me because I'm in marketing, right? So I was surprised how much I still had to work with data and analyze all the marketing data. So that's why I'm taking the data course, because even if you don't want to be a data analyst, it's still important and can help you stand out. Um, Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone listening. And I hope you all felt inspired by Michael and are more motivated to learn and grow. So good luck in your job search and in your learning, everyone.